We're here in Kotachi Wadi, and I feel like every time I come here and I see the gallery and I see this space, I think to myself, truly, there is no better place in the city or in India maybe for you to have a gallery.
I love that you say that, but I do love it. It is lovely. I mean, look at this place. Who would believe that you're in the absolute heart of Bombay? I love the fact that it's in Bombay. It's one of the oldest parts. It's got that whole Maharashtrian culture, but at the same time, this has this wonderful Portuguese feel because it comes from the East Indians who came here, settled into all these little cottages everywhere.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's real. People are living here. I've been coming here for over 35 years because of James. So it's not just this thing that you've made up. It's not a set.
Yeah. I think what I love about this is that, there is very much a sense of discovery every time you turn a corner, or even every time you kind of look at a building from a different angle. I've kind of spoken with you very much at length over the course of our friendship. We've known each other for a while now. And you have been going to Singapore for a long, long time now. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about kind of what that experience is for you.
Well, of course, yeah. The first time I went to Singapore, it's so weird. Mahesh, my husband, and I, we decided to go there because we'd never been over a New Year's Eve weekend because we were both such not New Year's Eve people, and we thought, while the rest of the country is doing whatever they have to, let's go away somewhere we haven't been. And it was just a last-minute thing, and we went to Singapore, and it was just so refreshing, so different.
Can I ask which New Year this was?
God, it's embarrassing. It's so long ago. I mean, it must be 25 years ago. Because
25
I've been
years
to, maybe even more, because I ran a production company. Mahesh, my husband, was the director, and one of the directors that we had at the company. And we did, for a long time, all our telecines, which was the transfer from negative onto tape in Singapore. So our directors were going there every week.
That's incredible.
And so I'd go sometimes. I'd go for fun. I didn't have any work there. And I saw it change over time, and I loved all kinds of things. Of course, the thing I loved most was the food. But it's also one of my first big introductions to international design. I loved that. I loved the mixture of the old and the new. I mean, to most people, you think of Singapore as a sanitized new city. But all the old Chinese shop houses and the influence of the Arab trade and all of that, it was just wonderful. There were so many things I was introduced to there, introduced to F1. I mean, I was a Michael Schumacher freak, so I was at the first F1 race. We did things. Mahesh had a Harley Davidson in Singapore. We'd be riding all over the place, into KL, wherever. So it was great.
That's incredible. So you basically know Singapore better than I do, first of all.
No, I don't. But I know it longer than you, Renjie.
What strikes me also, Srila, is that, meeting you is meeting many different people.
Isn't that nice?
It's been amazing. It's maybe slightly schizophrenic. but I think truly this idea of you being the queen of reinvention, because everything that you've done, each one of them has truly been sort of genre-defining endeavors, right?
I love hearing that.
But truly, I mean, from Highlight, really the OG film production house, to Blue Frog, of course, to what you've done with the Kalagoda festival in the early days when, no one thought that something like that was possible. No one maybe even had the vision for that. And then a design gallery. I wanted to ask you whether, when you think of all of the reinventions that you've had, is this something that has been what you've always imagined for yourself, or is this kind of all come organically and naturally for you?
I think my whole life everything is organic. I really cannot think of something that I planned or definitely wanted. I guess there's a time and a place for everything, and you figure that this is the right time you take it. What it takes is to be able to multitask, which that's something that if I have a talent, that's my talent, to be able to multitask. And it also takes the ability to, just to be happy to try things and to go into new places. I was a producer for 25 years with Highlight, and that was a company Mahesh started, but he started it at a time when there were no production houses. It was directors who had their company. So I was really the first producer. I didn't want to be a director. I wanted to be a producer. I ran the company, and the company morphed into a real production company because it had multiple producers and multiple directors. I mean, I did that for 25 years, and 10, I have to say, the first 10 must be the best thing I ever did. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then slowly things changed. You know, the creative, the stories in my book just deteriorated, where it became much more about Bollywood and cricket. But I felt that I owed it to Sunil especially, who was a young, very successful director. And I owed it to him to keep doing that. And when he was really frustrated and said, I've had enough of this, one day I called his bluff. And that's when, you know, I thought, I'm done with this. You know, I've always loved sport. I'm useless. I can't play, I'm useless, but I've always loved sport. And
how did F1 come about?
I don't know how it started. I think it was a big thing, lots of people, but I just got enraptured by Michael Schumacher. So
You said you went for the first F1 in Singapore, the very first one.
the very first
What
one.
was that like?
It was the first night race also in
Yes.
F1 history.
Yes.
So it was incredible. It looked like just, it was incredible.
And
to see Singapore at night, it was the perfect city to do that.
So I am very curious to know, as someone who is so wrapped around the world of design and enmeshed in the world, empowering the world of design today, who for you in India, in the art and design scene, is truly, you think, a game changer?
I think most people have sold out and are so interested in, I guess, the size and the wealth of being big or whatever it is, or the power of being big. And I'm attracted to only people who in some way are game changers. You know, I'm happy to stay a size that is not sexy for maybe the rest of the world, but you cannot ever forget the influence of them. James is one of them, James Ferreira. I mean, James is, legendary in how long he's been around. He was probably the only designer of his time who actually cut himself. He knows how to make anybody look good, fat, thin, or whatever in between. But James has never played the game, but he continues to be somebody who is original and is always doing something. Recently, I've been really bowled over by somebody I've known a while, Atif, young designer, who used to have a brand called just Re, and now he's got Re Ceremonial. And I'm amazed at him changing the game in the worst game of all, which I think is the wedding game, and slowly making change there. He's really doing it. I mean, he works with things that are only handcrafted, and his clothes are absolutely different. They are wedding clothes, they're beautiful, but they're done with, there's a conscience, there's some kind of thought behind it, behind what it will be outside of that one day you're wearing it. I was amazed at the success he's having and the fact that he now doesn't have an off season, because through the year there are people from various parts of the world, the big NRI market. I just so love what he's doing.
Yeah. So, Srila, before I moved to Mumbai, the two things that everyone told me about was A, the honking. And B, everyone was like, you must visit this place called Blue Frog. And it's the most, mind-blowing, inconspicuous, but also like unassuming place that truly blows your mind. And then I was very sad when I came here, and of course, Blue Frog was no more. But groundbreaking live music venue, truly world-class sound system. And from everything that I've heard, it's truly introduced this idea of a diversity of music, not just pop, not just sort of the mainstream, but jazz and indie, underground kind of acts. Tell me a little bit about that process for you and kind of what prompted that.
So the Blue Frog was enormous venue for live music every single day. It had a beautiful stage. It was also great design because it was designed by Kapil Gupta and all this pod-like formations with these little pods everywhere.
Like an amphitheater.
Yeah,
almost.
like an amphitheater. So it was also a restaurant. It was also great food and a fabulous bar. In our first 6 months, we were on the list of the 10 best live music venues in the world, which was just fabulous. It included Madison Square Garden, so that kind of venue. That kind of culture doesn't exist in India. Bombay is a hard city. It's not the kind of city that allows you to get out of work at 6 o'clock, go and hang in a bar or or listen to some music and go home. Reasons like that and incredible rents and stuff like that are why we had to shut down. It was in Lower Parel. I mean, Lower Parel has everything now. There was nothing there. And people thought we were mad. How could you go there?
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in everyday operations, but I did a lot of the other things. I was always the one who was arguing with the partners about using the space for other stuff. So I guess that was where I first started working with curation and curated pop-ups in the
Yeah.
daytime. And then a bar is a quintessential part of any place that's got music. So there was this big bar, but it was also important to have good food.
Yeah.
Even if it was a burger, it was the best burger in town. So it was really, really good food. It really, really was a special place. And I think it changed everyone who went there in some way or the other.
We've talked also a lot about immersive theater of eating, whether you're eating on the streets
Yeah.
and being surrounded by the streets, or eating in a place like Blue Frog. You're obviously one of the biggest Epicureans I know, truly
wow.
from the perspective of like the sensuality or the sensuousness of that experience of eating. And you mentioned food in Singapore just now as something that kind of has stuck in your mind.
I think Singapore has incredible food, always has. And what I also think is incredible is that Singapore has incredible food at every price level. Restaurants are expensive and are often getting absorbently expensive, but you get great food in Singapore at food courts. And I know so many local Singaporeans who don't even have kitchens because it's just so much easier. So that's the thing, it's healthy food as well.
Yeah.
It's fresh food. And I love the variety of food that comes from all the influences of the region. So Chinese, Malaysian, Tamil, all of that. Some of the best Tamil food I've ever eaten in my
Yeah?
life has been in Singapore, yeah.
Well, okay, have you tried fish head curry in Singapore?
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I what I think is so extraordinary about it is that it's a classic Singaporean Tamil dish, but you don't get this in India.
Yeah.
Because that influence of having that whole giant fish head that's stewed in a clay pot and obviously very rich Tamil curry
yeah.
spices is a Chinese one, right? The idea of eating the giant fish head and picking off sort of bits
Yeah,
from it.
yeah.
And it to me is, as you say, so representative of everything coming together on a plate.
And one of the things about the fish head is that it's an intrinsic part of Bengali cooking. I mean, Bengalis love it. I mean,
Yeah.
they put into dal, they put into vegetable. So it wasn't unusual, but
Yeah.
it's extraordinarily different
Yeah.
and quite delicious.
Yeah. Well, okay, what's also incredible is that you've clearly traveled the world. You clearly have traveled all of India and seen all these different communities, and somehow feels like almost like you have 48 hours in a day when everyone else only has 24 hours, right? So I'm really curious to know, for you, on a day off, what's that like for you?
A lot of what I'm doing is checking out craft communities. Well, my work, that's why I love it, because I'm doing all of that. So on a day off, I'm really off.
Yeah.
I don't know, I seem to be an expert at doing nothing, which doesn't happen very often, but I read a lot. So that's a great joy to
Yeah.
just hang around reading. And it's a big distraction, having dogs. You're doing nothing, but you're irritating them. You're doing something. I might go to the race course with them. And another big thing that happens on days off, which is ridiculous, is that you decide you're going to tidy a drawer and it becomes this entire project. And you think, why did I start it? Because you have to complete it. But I think days off are very often like that, just hanging around and enjoying being home. I think that's the biggest thing. You're not home a lot.
Yeah. It's extraordinary that even tidying the closet can become a whole project for you, a whole design exercise for you. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Srila.